Hey, hi everyone. This is Ashutosh. As you already know, we have started a series on smartphone food photography for beginners. In previous two videos, we have seen backdrops, props, and accessories that you can use for food photography along with some lighting techniques. And in this video, we will be talking about some composition techniques that you can use to click good food photos. So composition is nothing but how you can bring everything together, including your backdrops, props, accessories, and also your lighting techniques, and click a good food photo. So it's about how you arrange your subject in a frame. So we will see some fundamental techniques for composition. There are many techniques which photographers use, but we will only see three major techniques which are very simple to understand, and for beginners these are perfect techniques. So when it comes to composition, you can either frame your subject by moving yourself or moving the subject. But a good composition requires these both movement. You may have to adjust your own position as well as you need to adjust the subject as well. So let's see which are the three composition techniques which you can use to click good food photos. So first composition technique is 45 degrees angle. So here you place your food on the platform and then click the photo. And this is the most natural position to look at the food, because usually we sit at the table and look at the food at the 45 degrees angle. The only important thing that you should remember here is you should not place anything immediately behind your food. The second composition technique is flat lay, and as the name suggests, you place the food on the backdrop and click the photo from the top angle. And this is the most popular method among the smartphone food photographers, because smartphone cameras are perfect to click flat lay photographs. You don't need to capture the depth that is required in 45 degrees angle. When it comes to flat lays, everything is at the same level and it becomes very easy to capture all the elements using your smartphone cameras. But the most important thing to remember in flat lay is styling. You need to pay a lot of attention to styling, because anything and everything that's there in the frame will be captured. So here styling is very important, even more than lighting. Of course, you can have a lot of props and accessories in your photos. I will also encourage you to try a minimalist approach, where you just have maybe a dish and your food in a photo frame, but the other space around your food is empty. And these kind of photos also look good to the eyes, and these are very easy to click. In flat lay, I will also recommend one very common practice where you can switch on the grid lines in your camera app and make sure that wherever the grids touch each other, at the intersection, you have some subject in the frame. That way the frame looks natural to human eyes. That's called as the rule of third. Next, you can also click some holding shots. There you can ask your friends or family members to hold the food for you, and these shots look very natural because of human touch. I will definitely recommend to try these out. And the best part about holding shots is if the lighting is not up to your liking at one location, you can easily take the food and move to the another location. So do try it out and let us know how it works out for you. So next, we will shoot one food photograph using all these techniques that we have learned till now. But before that, we need to understand some basic camera settings. So I will be explaining you some basic camera settings for Android and iPhone.
So let's first look at the camera settings for Android. You'll have to find an icon for camera app on your home screen. Once you click on the icon, your camera app will open up. Just make sure that the camera app is in the photo shoot mode. So there are multiple settings when it comes to smartphone camera, but all we need to be aware of is the exposure setting. To access the exposure settings, there are two ways. Option number 1 is to press and hold for 1 or 2 seconds on the screen. Once you press and hold on the screen for a few seconds, a focus and exposure settings will appear. So you can adjust the exposure by adjusting this bar that you can see. You can increase the exposure by sliding the bar up, and you can decrease the exposure by sliding it down. You are basically adjusting the brightness of the image. So based on the environment outside, you can increase or decrease the exposure since we are shooting with the natural light. So if there is a lot of light that's coming through your natural light source, then you can decrease the exposure. And if there isn't enough light, maybe you can decide to increase the exposure. And we will see the practical application of this in a while when we click the actual food photo. So this is the option number 1 to adjust the exposure. The second option is by accessing the professional settings in your camera. So to do that, you have to find a tab where your professional settings are located. So for my phone, I have to click on mode. I will click on the professional settings. Then all the professional settings will open up, including exposure, ISO, shutter speed, white balance, and focus. So we are just concerned about the exposure settings today. Let's click on the tab to adjust the exposure. Then again, similar to the vertical bar that we saw earlier, here we have the horizontal bar. So by bringing that bar to the left, you will decrease the exposure, and if you slide that bar to the right, exposure will be increased. So these are the exposure settings for Android phone. And for iOS, we have just one option, which is very similar to the option number 1 of Android. So for iOS, again, you need to open your camera app. You need to press and hold on the screen for a few seconds. The focus and exposure settings will appear on the screen. Then similar to the Android one, you can either bring the slider up or bring it down to adjust the exposure. So these are very simple and basic camera settings, and these are more than enough to click a good food photo.
Now that we have seen some basic camera settings, let's click a food photo.
But before clicking an actual photo, we will do some basic setup. We are going to use natural light to click a food photo. So this is the basic setup that we have. We have a natural light source, that is a window at one side, and at another side we have a platform on which we will place food. So before placing the food, we will place a backdrop. If you haven't checked out our earlier videos on backdrops and accessories as well as application of a natural light, the link is in the description. Do check those out. So this is the top angle where we have a natural light coming from the right side, and there is a backdrop that we have placed on which we will place the food. And this is our shooting radius. But before getting started, you should also be clear about the theme or styling of the photo. So today we are going to click a photo of a pizza. We want to create a scene where we are sitting at a cafe having a pizza, maybe few other food items at the side, and we are reading a book, listening to some music, something like that. So let's see how we can do that. So we will place our pizza first and a pizza shovel. And to add some styling element, we will add some basil leaves, chili flakes along with some red chilies. So these are going to act as our props. Then we have this pastry with us. We will place that in a plate and add cherry at the top. We will also place this plant and a book to get that cafe vibe. We will add some cutlery along with some white cloth. We will add headphones. So this is the basic setup that we have done. Let's see how we can shoot this photo using our camera app and settings that we have just seen. So let's open our camera app. We will press and hold on the screen. The slider will appear to adjust the exposure. If we bring the slider down, the whole photo will become darker. If we bring it up, photo will brighten up. So we'll adjust it to our liking, and when the lighting is just right, we will also zoom in a little bit to make sure that everything is well within the frame, and click the photo. This is how the raw photo will look like. Next, we will also change composition a little bit, framing a little bit, and click the photo. We will also bring the pastry plate down because there is some blank space there. We want to fill that. There is also blank space at the top of the plate, so we'll add some cherries there. Just to add some human touch, we will bring up one piece of the pizza with a pizza shovel and click the photo. So all the photos that we have clicked are using flat lay composition that we have just seen earlier in this video, and flat lay is the best option to click photos for beginners. And you can also click multiple photos focusing at different areas of the subject. Like you can click a whole pizza, or you can only click half of the pizza. So based on your liking, you can experiment around the composition and the framing, and you can get multiple good photos from just one setup.
Now that we have clicked a food photo, next we will see how to edit this photo using a simple smartphone editing app and also Microsoft PowerPoint. That will be really interesting. So stay tuned for the next video. Please like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe the channel. See you in the next video.